What is up, y'all? Welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network. It is your host, Michael Roscoe, and welcome to the very first live stream of the show. For those who regularly listen on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you're listening on, don't worry because that audio will still be available tomorrow morning at its usual time. Now, we got a lot of awesome stuff to talk about on tonight's episode. But before I do all that, I just want to remind everybody that we've recently partnered with Old City Sports Network. So go ahead and show them some love by subscribing and liking to the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages, as well as access the website oldcitysports.com for Second and 15 and the other OCSN podcasts such as Flyers Alley, Quit Chasing, a baseball podcast about the Phillies, and Check the Net about the Philadelphia Union. And don't forget to take advantage of some of the awesome deals from our sponsors, such as Righteous Felon Jerky. Head on over to righteousfelon.com and use promo code OCSN, all lowercase, for 15% off of your purchase. And remember, any purchases over $50 will include free shipping. Now, I think that's a plus in my opinion. We are also sponsored by SeatGeek. Go ahead and download the SeatGeek app from the App Store on your Android or your iPhone and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off of your very first purchase. Now, I think that's a pretty good deal in my opinion as well. Head on over to the SeatGeek app and use that for your next concert, your next show, game, whatever you're about to see next as the summer season comes around the corner. Go ahead and use that SeatGeek app and our promo code. And finally, we are also sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Head on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use the code OLDSPORTS, all uppercase and one word, for 15% off of your beard care products. They got soaps, they got oils, they got washes, whatever you need to keep your beard looking fresh and clean as anything. Go on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use that promo code. It is ticking at the bottom of the screen right now. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Why don't we? The cornerback battle just got a lot more interesting. We're going to talk about the new kid on the block, plus more rookie contracts are being signed. But is Howie Roseman finished adding more to this already stacked ass roster? Plus, what does the Philly schedule look like? We've been seeing some leaks online, and the full schedule is going to be released at 8 o'clock. I actually have the NFL channel going on in the background so I can take a look, but we'll go over a lot of that and more, starting with our first topic, some generalized NFL news. All right. Our first piece of news comes out of Kansas City because, they tend to be in the spotlight a lot now with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's love and relationship. That's not sarcastic. We love to see love. But this time, Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker is in some deep water after his commencement speech at the Benedictine College graduation ceremony went viral. Comments from the kicker suggested negative statements about the roles of women in society and the LGBTQ plus community. One comment from the kicker was geared specifically towards the female staff, or the female students, or those identifying as female, that basically that they've been told diabolical lies. Yeah, that was the exact phrase he used. Diabolical lies about pursuing careers, and that for his wife, he said, quote, Her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and mother. Basically, to me, it sounded like a beat around the bush political, I'm going to avoid the question without answering the question kind of statement saying that getting a career is a lie and that women belong in the kitchen serving their husband. That's basically what it came out to a lot of people. He also spoke about the concept of pride, stating that the students should be embracing the pride within the religion and not, quote, not the deadly sin that has a whole month dedicated to it. Now, it may sound like I'm getting political, but I'm not trying to get political since this is a football podcast, but we are talking about an NFL player making these types of statements. But it seems like Chiefs players are coming out with a lot of more controversies in the news lately. You had the whole Travis Kelce thing, and I'm not hating on him because I love Travis, with getting physical with his coach. You had Rashee Rice and the vehicular assault and accident. And now you got Harrison Butker doing this goofy ass speech. Granted, he's speaking to a Christian college, sure, and they may have more traditional or conservative ideologies that some might have seen his speech, and retain that positively. But basically telling women where they should be and bashing not only the LGBTQ society as a whole, but the president for being Christian and pro-choice, you do have the freedom to be that, Harrison. He's just preaching to the wrong choir. A lot of these people have taken these comments super negatively to the point where a petition has been created for the Chiefs to release him. Again, not going to dabble into the politics of that with freedom of speech or anything like that. But man done goofed with this one. A lot of people are pissed off. If you want to read about it, there is a transcript online. But I'm going to dive into our next topic, the NFL schedule. So we've seen some leaks online, but the NFL schedule releases tonight at 8 p.m. So in about 23 minutes, if my math is correct. I'm going to have it on the TV in the background, like I said earlier. But in the meantime, various scheduled leaks have been released with some notable games and info for your Philadelphia Eagles. So as we all know, we're starting off week 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where we play the Green Bay Packers. And that's one of our home games, which I kind of have some opinions about taking away a home game for an international game. But listen, if Sao Paulo is flocked with Birds fans everywhere, it basically will be a home game. We've treated a lot of away games as home games anyway, so maybe it won't be a disadvantage to us. But week 1 is confirmed that we will play the Packers in Sao Paulo. Various leaks have the Birds playing their first Monday Night Football game of the year the very next week in week 2 versus none other than Kirk Cousins, this time with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is the 3rd year in a row where we have Kirk Cousins in week 2. The 3rd year, because we played the Vikings the past 2 years in week 2. We were 2-0 against them. Not saying that's a guaranteed win because, nothing can be guaranteed nowadays with the NFL. But I'm saying that the odds are in our favor when it comes to playing against Kirk Cousins in week 2. Other leaks so far, we have, I think it was the Bucks in week 4. Also, why do we always play the Bucks? I feel like we've played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a lot within the past 4 years, and we lose to them in the playoffs. I don't know if this is just some, tactic from the NFL just to upset Philly fans. Not really. I'm just joking around with that, but it does seem a little suspicious, don't y'all think? But we'll play the Bucks and hopefully get our revenge after that decimating loss back in the 2023 season playoffs, that first round exit. We're past that season. We are going on to the 2024 season with a bright future ahead. But we'll have the Bucks in week 4. Another leak says that we will have the New Orleans Saints in week 3. We have an early bye week, apparently, week 5. If the leaks are true, week 5 will be our bye week. Now, to me, that is an early ass bye week. I'm not sure how I feel about it, especially having to play 12 to 13 consecutive games right after that. And looking at it, it looks like only beforehand do we have a 10-day break from the Sao Paulo game and the Atlanta game, where we have a 10-day break, while all the other games, half of them, if not 2/3 of them, are in prime time. And also just, back-to-back, 7-day games, week-long games, no little mini bye weeks from there. But another leak was said that we will face the Jacksonville Jaguars, hosting them for Sunday Night Football in Week 9. We'll see how we hold ourselves off against Trevor Lawrence. And then for a revenge game, we play the Giants twice, so there's going to be 2 Saquon Barkley revenge games that I am absolutely looking forward to. Hopefully I have a Saquon jersey by that time, but regardless, I'm looking forward to those games. The first one apparently would be in week 7, but a guarantee is that we close our season for the 3rd year in a row against the Giants in week 18. So I'm excited for those revenge games, especially against the Bucks. I don't know what it is about the Bucks in the playoffs, but they always get to us. It's just one of those things that tend to happen. Hopefully we can rewrite that history this year. And obviously I'm looking excited to just see Saquon absolutely run up the score on his former team for not giving him the contract he deserves. He came to the better team with Philadelphia. The fans, were burning his jerseys, treating him like crap. We embraced him here at Philadelphia and we'll continue to embrace him. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those. All right. Our next piece of news, the NFL and Netflix, streaming app Netflix, have struck a deal in which Netflix gains the right to Christmas Day NFL games for the next 3 years. This multi-million-dollar deal has mixed reviews from fans, and it looks like I'm going to have to reactivate my Netflix account to watch the Birds if we have a Christmas Day game. Personally, I think this streaming exclusive NFL games are getting a little bit out of hand. I thought the original point of streaming services was to be a cost-effective alternative solution to high cable prices. But now the NFL is investing in multiple streaming services like Peacock, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, and now Netflix. We basically are back to cable prices if you do the math and add up all the costs of the streaming services to watch NFL games. For example, the Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus bundle at minimum is $15 a month. Peacock's is around $6, so is Paramount Plus. Amazon's around $15 a month. NFL Plus is $7. Netflix's minimum cost is $7 a month. And, those are low price numbers, but, some of those will have ads in them. Basically, it's like $56 a month or just under $700 a year in streaming services. Now, that's for minimum. That's for minimum stuff like ads and everything like that. If you throw Sunday Ticket in there, don't get me even started. From a business perspective, from a pure business perspective, I get it. The NFL has found ways to make money, to be able to serve its audience. It brings us a lot of, merchandise and awesome games and, storybook scheduling, things like that. So I get it. They're utilizing what they can do to, get to a wider audience because, people in other countries have Netflix, not other countries are able to watch like NFL games on regular cable or anything like that. So if that is one of the plans, then I can get on board with that a little bit. But can we please, for the love of God, stop at Netflix with the streaming services? Don't add any more for us, please. I can't justify spending extra on services to watch 1 week of a game in a year. I'll go to a bar or something like that. All right, last piece of NFL news that we got before we're going to dive specifically into some Eagles news. This is an Eagles podcast, don't worry. Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff gets his big payday after signing a 4-year, $212 million extension. Now, this would put his annual salary at around $53 million per year. Jared Goff's been doing big things. Game recognizes game. I think Eagles and Lions fans, we have a weird relationship where we get along well. I get along with Lions fans. I enjoy Lions fans. So shout out to the Lions fans out there. Goff led an incredible season this year, getting to the NFC Championship, almost beating the 49ers, almost getting to that Super Bowl. It was only a matter of time before the 8-year veteran got paid. And this extension will make him the second highest paid by annual salary quarterback, just under Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, who we also play this year. I think Week 8 is another leaked rumor where we will play Week 8 against the Bengals. Anyway, so congrats to Jared Goff on getting that payday. Really excited for you. All right, y'all. Now I'm going to dive into the topic where the show is about, some Eagles news and discussion. So if you're live, feel free to, post comments. This is my first time going live, so I'm not seeing any comments directly. But I will get back to them as best as I can. But anyway, let's dive into those Eagles news and discussions. First things first, we got a jersey number switch. As originally I had mentioned that offensive lineman Matt Hennessy was wearing number 77. He moves down one number to 76. So that newcomer to the Eagles, at least, Mekhi Becton, can retain his number 77 that he wore with the New York Jets before coming over to us. But, I've always wondered how those jersey number swap conversations go. Like obviously Devin White must have had a conversation with Rick Lovato to get his number 45. Yeah, I just wonder if it's like a negotiation tactic or like, is it just a casual conversation? Does someone text like, hey, I'll give you 50 bands if we swap jersey numbers? And the other guy's just like, you know what? Done. I always wondered how those go. So if anyone has any intel on how those conversations go, hit your boy up. I'm really curious. We've seen a couple of switches, like I said, between Devin White, Rick Lovato. Now we're seeing Matt Hennessy and Mekhi Becton. And there's a few others I can't remember off the top of my head. But I've always wondered what those look like. So if we have any more of those throughout the season, I'll obviously report those in the show. In addition, we got 5 more rookies that have signed their rookie contracts with wide receiver Anaya Smith, edge rusher Jalex Hunt, running back Will Shipley, center Dylan McMahon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. And linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr., all within the past few days. And for McMahon and Trotter, as of today, have all made their rookie contracts official. The only ones left are the 2 first and second round picks with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. What's up, Jesse? I just saw your comment now. I'm not worried that they haven't signed yet. I think a lot of people do know this, but for those who don't, the first or like the big picks, the ones in the first, maybe early second round, they're not, real quick to sign the rookie contracts. Some teams might, build up some type of bigger deal than a typical rookie contract. They're probably having like contract negotiations, and then they'll have their full contract, which will be signed and revealed, just like we saw with Jalen Carter. He was last to sign out of the rookies, and he had an initial like 4-year, $21 million deal, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is I think bigger than typical NFL rookie contracts, mainly for those in those later rounds, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. But anyway, congrats to the 7 rookies who have signed so far. I can't wait for the last 2 to sign their contracts and continue to watch them put in the work this offseason. They've already put in a massive amount of work. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell have already been impressing. I talk about it a little bit in episode 39. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. But I'm really excited for this draft class. I don't think you guys have any idea how excited I am to see what will come of, at the very least, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Moving on, we have another roster move and kind of an interesting story on one of our main topics. So the Eagles have released tight end Noah Tungai, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, to make room for a standout tryout player, an under-the-radar cornerback from Ferris State University who made such an impact in tryouts that obviously he got a contract signed. But there's rumors floating around that it might be a multi-year contract, but nothing's been confirmed if it's multi-year or just a standard contract. Point being, He's already signed. And this is cornerback Sean Stevens out of Ferris State. I'll be honest, I couldn't even tell y'all where Ferris State is on a map without Googling it, but that don't matter. Let's talk about Mr. Stevens. First of all, football and the NFL run in this man's family. His uncle is none other than Joey Porter Sr., meaning that his cousin is Joey Porter Jr. I think their first or second round pick for the Steelers. Big name player. So yeah, he's got football in his blood. Sean Stevens standing at 5'9" and around 180 pounds. He may not be the biggest guy in the field. That could be, the average size of an NFL corner. I haven't looked that up. But compared to other NFL players, may not be the biggest guy on the field, but that doesn't mean that Stevens can't ball out. Even though his school is a Division II school, Stevens led the entire nation in interceptions over the last 2 seasons with 16 total interceptions. That's 1-6, averaging 8 interceptions a year. An absolute ball hawk. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell didn't even have numbers that high. He's a bit on the older side for a rookie, though. That is, I guess, the only thing that might not necessarily be a deterrent, but might be something of consideration. According to the Philadelphia Eagles website, his rookie year in college was back in 2017. However, he stepped away from football for a few years because in 2020, unfortunately, his mother suffered a heart attack, and he sidelined himself to take care of her on the fortunate side, which is incredible of him to do. Football is probably his dream, but he's a family come first man. I'm a family come first guy. So that's mad respect to him for taking time away from his dream. But right now he has a chance to be on the best team in the league with the Philadelphia Eagles. However, with the signing of Sean Stevens, there are now 14 cornerbacks on this roster, which are as follows. We got Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Mekhi Garner, Tyler Hall, Josh Jobe, Zach McPherson, Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. Because yes, he is listed as a corner despite any of these rumors saying that he'll move to safety. This is a huge ass corner room. It's massive. Last year on the initial 53-man roster for the Birds, they kept 7 corners and 4 safeties for their defensive backs. Now, if the Eagles had to cut this corner room down to 7, obviously you're kicking out 50% of the current roster. If they had to cut the corner room down to 7, who would y'all have? I mean, out of those names, a couple stick out, like Darius Slay, the rookies, DeJean and Mitchell. We re-signed Maddox, so he has a chance. But what do y'all think? What would you say will be the corners that will stick? Let me know in the comments, or DM me on any of my social media sites if you have any opinion about this initial prediction for the corner room. Right now, it's a tough decision. If I were a DB coach, I would be feeling anxious as hell trying to figure out who I'm keeping. Obviously, we have a long way to go, but personally, barring any big name veteran signing or free agent signing or anything like that, my first prediction at the 7-man cornerback room will be Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Keely Ringo, and Eli Ricks. Now, I know what some of y'all may be thinking. Why are you including James Bradbury? He had a major regression year, yada, yada, yada. He played like trash. We've heard all the comments. We've seen the performance. It was a bad year for him. I'm not disagreeing with that. But plain and simple, it's going to cost too much to release him. Different websites say different numbers. One I was looking at not too long ago said that in terms of a cap hit, it would cost even the post June 1st cut. This is post June 1st cut conversation. it would be $4 million in dead cap to this year, but are nearly $12 million in the following year in dead cap space. And that's just something we can't afford. Howie is an absolute word wizard and genius with cap space and all those numbers and whatnot. He might find a way to make it work, but that I feel like would be extremely difficult even for Howie Roseman. Long story short, it's too expensive. We can't cut him. He may see a drop in his playing time, especially if Quinyon Mitchell is balling out. There's already reports saying that he is going to start over James Bradbury, which I'm not surprised by that. So we'll just have to see. We'll keep watching. If I had to pick an eighth corner to remain on the roster, the final 53 roster, my pick would be Isaiah Rodgers for that. When he first signed, a lot of people were interested in his ability to play both in the slot and the outside, but they really highlighted his kick and punt return abilities. That was like a big thing that people talked about, were his returning abilities. But with this recent draft class addition alone and some free agent signings like Paris Campbell and Devontae Parker, Cooper DeJean, Will Shipley, Anais Smith, those are all young guys with not only amazing skills within their respective positions, but have great kick and punt return capabilities. And because of that, I think Isaiah Rodgers' stock may diminish a little bit because of that. Not guaranteeing it, but we got 3 young, fresh rookies who are amazing at returns and also have great skill sets at their different positions. Unless Rodgers has an amazing camp, I think he would be the 8th man or first man out, if you want to say it. However, I could also see Isaiah Rodgers beating out somebody like Eli Ricks if he balls out at camp, especially since from a monetary standpoint, Rodgers was an excellent signing for the Birds. I don't think it costs them anything initially. Now, I don't know what those numbers are like today, if that changes or whatever, but it was basically like a free signing at the beginning for him. So from a financial standpoint, it was very smart to sign him, and he's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong, great athlete. I don't know what his contract would look like for this year, how much it would cost, but for monetary reasons, I could see Isaiah Rodgers going over Eli Ricks. But another route for this, CB room is to keep the 8 corners that I mentioned. And with DeJean starting off this year practicing at the nickel corner position, he could be considered in that safety conversation. I mean, he's already kind of been considered in that safety conversation, but it was announced that he's been practicing starting off at the nickel corner position. But if we don't sign a free agent safety, I could see DeJean being thrown back in that safety conversation. However, Fangio has multiple schemes for his defense, such as nickel, big nickel, dime, penny, copper defense, and more. Most, if not all, involve the use of a nickel or a nickel and dime cornerback and 2 up to 3 safeties. If DeJean's best position is nickel corner and he wins the starting job at nickel, I would rather not see DeJean take snaps at safety, especially since our secondary was absolutely decimated in the middle of the field last year. And DeJean could be a major asset at that nickel corner position, solidifying our defense at the field, in addition to Quinyon Mitchell and all the other talented DBs that we have. But as far as the camps go, we'll see what new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio and the rest of the Eagles organization decide to do throughout the offseason. But this is the position battle to watch, and y'all won't want to miss that. But speaking of defense, naturally going on to my next topic, little notification, we'll get rid of that. Speaking of defense, I was watching the Philly Special Show on YouTube, and Josh, the host, talks about how Fangio isn't satisfied at the safety position. For those who are unsure what the safety is, there's a free safety and a strong safety. But overall, Fangio does not seem to be satisfied at this moment at the safety position. And honestly, neither am I. We only have CJ Gardner Johnson, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and Tristan McCollum as our rostered standalone safeties. I think CJ could play nickel. There's been talks about like Reed Blankenship going at like a dime linebacker position, but they're listed as safeties on the roster. If there is another move that Howie Roseman is going to make, it should be at this safety position. Uh, CJ and Reed, they're both fantastic players. I have nothing against CJ Gardner Johnson and Reed Blankenship. Both fantastic players, both ball hawks. CJ had like 6 interceptions with us when he was with us in 2022. I think Reed Blankenship had 3 last year, and he forced a lot of fumbles. Forces and recovers fumbles pretty well. But they both have their fair share of injury histories. We saw CJ out a lot last year for the Lions, and then the year before that, he was out of some games due to a lacerated kidney, which I don't even know how that happens, but he's recovered, so that's what's more important. And then Reed Blankenship with his various injuries. Sidney Brown is the next safety I'm thinking about. He has upside. He's got definite upside, but he is in his rookie year, and he ended it with an ACL injury, which was extremely unfortunate. However, he does seem to be responding well in recovery. He recently beat out running back Kenny Gainwell in a deadlift contest. It was I saw that on I think it was the Eagles Instagram. It's there if you haven't seen it. As for Tristan McCollum, he was a practice squad guy brought up to the roster as the injuries piled up. And against a league full of caliber wide receivers and running backs, you got Jamar Chase, you got your AJ Browns, you got your Justin Jeffersons, you got your Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley. You got lots of caliber players at these positions. And for Tristan McCollum, I just don't think right now he is at the level to be reliable in coverage against the top guys in the league. We also have Mekhi Gardner, who is a corner, but technically can play safety. But I feel he falls under the same level as Tristan McCollum. Personally, I believe Howie needs to make another signing at the safety position. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks about Justin Simmons from the Denver Broncos, since he's still a free agent over the past couple of months. If we can't land Simmons for whatever reason, there are other available safeties from free agency. There's Quandre Diggs, there's Micah Hyde, Eddie Jackson, and others. However, they are on the older side of football age, at least. And Howie tends to seek younger defensive backs who have major upside and can maintain longevity with the Eagles. Without us having drafted a safety, though, some would argue that Cooper DeJean is technically a safety that we drafted, but he's a corner. Let Cooper play corner, please. We didn't draft a true natural safety. And I think, because of that, we still need to make a move getting a veteran at safety. We could do something like sign Simmons to a 1 or 2 year contract to get a powerhouse safety like Justin Simmons. And then, after this year's over or the 2025 season's over, we take a top safety in the draft. Obviously, Howie's not afraid to go double dipping at defensive backs in the draft anymore. So, things could change. So I think that's a solid plan. If we don't get a free agent safety, then we need to figure something out with that. But if we do sign one, we sign with someone like Justin Simmons, year-long contract, draft a ball and safety in the next draft or two. Whatever it may be, Howie needs to do something with the safety position. And hopefully under the radar, he's already cooking up a deal with a good one that'll drop soon. But I want to know what y'all think about this. What do you think the Philadelphia Eagles should do at the safety position? Feel free to hit me up on all of my social media with your thoughts. All right, y'all. That is actually all of my topic points for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on my first live stream. We had about over 30 people watching simultaneously at one point, which for a young podcaster like myself starting out, that's excellent. I appreciate everyone who's been watching and liking. Um, don't forget again to like and subscribe to not only my podcast page, Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast on Facebook and Twitter, but my network's pages, Old City Sports Network, old spelled with an E at the end. You can find them on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we also have some merchandise. Yeah, we got some Second and 15 merchandise with that little logo that you're seeing in that corner or whatever. So head over to oldcitysports.com and you can use the promo code listed on the banner of the website. You have to go to the website to check it out. I won't reveal everything. Use that promo code to get 15% off of your first purchase. So yeah, once again, thank you everyone who joined me on my first live stream. I love y'all. I appreciate the support. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also access it at oldcitysports.com and on all those social media accounts that I had just mentioned. So thank you, everybody. I will see you next time and be on the lookout for that schedule going on. It's 8:07 right now, so I think they're starting to announce the games. I'll let y'all go and watch that. Have a great evening, everybody.